Hey, my loves. So, this Leo new moon reading is just a quick one, but it's really all that we need to hear and all that we need to know right now. I've just moved. I'm still getting settled in, so I really wanted to have my whole setup to do the readings like how I normally do. If you guys have noticed that a lot of my last few videos have been like filmed from the French Quarter and things like that because I just like haven't had the setup to do a full reading like how I normally do. And when I went to pull the cards for this Leo new moon, like I pulled a whole bunch of cards that told a story, but keeping it simple, I cleared the whole spread, and I shuffled again, and this is what came out. And this is the Our Lady of Truth from the Mary Magdalene Oracle, and the magician card from the White Sage Tarot. So over here, I have some more cards that tell us a story. And the story is like one of like not being able to enjoy ourselves ever, like having like a lot of grief and trauma. And just everything, like it's really like been moving so fast. Yeah, when you're in fight or flight mode, things can move really fast. And now this is what you've harvested from those experiences. Okay, so we're gonna put this to the side. Um, the truth and your impact and your power to make things happen via your truth. For a lot of my audience and the people that I work with and who gravitate towards me, you've basically been forced to live a lie. And that's damaged you extremely. But nobody can see because they're just so comfortable with the little lies. Those little basic tiny lies. Any lie that you're being told or that you are telling is damaging you at this point because you need a full spectrum of the truth. And the full spectrum of the truth can only come through you fully expressing your truth. And that's the only way you can create your life how you want it. And it's also going to be what teaches you about your life and how to live your life. A lot of my people, like, if you're addicted to the internet, it's no shame. Like, I literally know what it feels like to retreat. You know, a lot of my constituency is escapist, always escaping into your imagination. And it's actually a really good thing that you know how to do that because that's how all things are created. The only problem comes from those unconscious limiting beliefs that tell us we're not good enough and that we don't deserve what we want. That holds us back, and it doesn't matter like how strong our imagination is, our unconscious mind is way stronger. That's why the spiritual work that I do can be pretty dark because it's going into the unconscious mind and the collective unconscious. And that's where all evil resides. So over the pandemic, everybody started becoming aware of this Hollywood sex cult thing and talking about it a lot more. And for, again, a lot of my constituency have actually experienced things like this. Cult rituals being drugged or manipulated or abused as children within these type of environments. And it is very dark. It's not for the weak to even know about. That's why so many people, they can't really believe that it's true because their reality collapses. But for those that understand the spiritual nature of reality, there's no way that it's not true because this world runs on those type of demonic rituals. And like when you get to talking like this, a lot of people off rip will just write it off as crazy, conspiracy, not true, why do you care? Even if people that think it is true are like, why are you talking about it? Because people know that to talk about it is to like disrupt these energies and sort of, you know, what we're doing is like disrupting them within ourselves. So that's the most chaotic feeling because for me, I wasn't able to get to this point of clarity with these things without going through a huge process of my own that uncovered so many of these mysteries. And that's really hard to see. It's hard to know. We break parts of ourselves off from other parts of ourselves for a reason. And the main reason is that like those parts are vilified and ostracized by somebody else that we need to take care of us. So our parents and early caregivers and siblings and family members and anybody that we have around us is so influential to our concept of self. We create ourselves based on what they need or what we think they need. And it's supportive of the structure of society. So, like, that's why it's so discouraged to talk about. If anybody wants to talk about their parents or throw shade on their family, that's a huge red flag to many people. And there's so many cliches that are like talking about that. Like, somebody told me one that was like, oh, he has forgotten. He said some movie line, and he was like, that he's forgotten the face of his father or something like that, or his family. And I noticed that a lot of the times the people that are the most like upholding respect for elders and things like that, they're abusing the system. They're abusing the fact that people are coerced into having respect for their elders. It's like elders don't have to earn respect. People are just supposed to give it to them. And that's where the whole thing got fucked up. And again, my constituency, I claim my community hard because the people that gravitate towards me are on some other shit completely. Like, there are not many people on this earth who care so much about the impact that they make on other people to make sure that it's gentle, and to like receive their spiritual gifts and use their spiritual gifts while maintaining a baseline integrity. So it's a really beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing. And that's how I know, and I want you to know that everything you have to offer is good. A lot of times it can be very confusing when you're like beginning to really utilize your psychic gifts. When you become more psychic, you pick up on more things. So it doesn't necessarily mean when you hear a random like thought or you think something, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's yours. That's why being in the body and being tuned into the body is so important. And being too tuned into the mind will really lead you astray. It can be very confusing because there are literal psychic programs designed to fuck with you. And it's not a secret. Like, it's not a conspiracy theory. Like, all of these things are common knowledge. They're public domain information. But people will still choose to ignore it because it comforts them and it makes their lives easier. And when it comes to like really living in your truth, a lot of times you have to leave your family behind. You have to leave everyone and everything you know behind. I know I have many times, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. Because I need to be able to say the unpopular thing and do what I need to do. And I can't have restriction on that. So we're now coming into a phase where this next few months of this year are really going to be make or break for relationships of all kinds. Some of y'all already saw that a lot of relationships have been falling by the wayside these past like few weeks even. And it's because for a lot of my collective members, like your innocence is getting an upgrade. Whatever made you not see it before in those situations, or see how you were being taken for granted and see how you were being used by other people who saw your innocence and saw your light and wanted a piece of it. And they're not necessarily villains. Like, they were there to teach you lessons that will benefit you because now the stakes are much higher. And you got to learn these lessons when the stakes are low. This is why, like, in a tribal society or ideal society, young children would be raised up with this knowledge of how to protect and preserve themselves for who they are. But we don't get that as much anymore because it's such a cookie cutter society that's just funneling people into factory jobs and, you know, being dominated and controlled by the system. So, like, children don't really get treated with the uniqueness that they are. And then, you know, the system is designed to stress parents out. It's designed to separate mothers and fathers. And it's designed to fuck up the dynamics between them. And it's very clear, like, to sit down, if you really sit down and break it down, like, it should be very obvious and clear, but the only way that it's not is because of social conditioning and mental programming. That's why I start everything with my healing mind control ritual. I probably, I feel like I'm doing too much. I'm offering so many classes right now, you guys. I just felt like I needed to be busy, and I had so much to share with you guys, and it's part of my shadow work too. So the first class in my series is my shadow workshop. That's on 8/8. And there's always going to be a replay available too. I'm working on adding a video vault to my website with all my extended clips and group healings and classes and things like that. So stay tuned for that. But it really all starts with the healing mind control, because honestly, if you don't heal that mind control, it's hard to really take in any of the rest of this information. And it frustrates me sometimes because I feel like I have a hard time even breaking through that programming to even tell people why is this important. But I'll keep working on my marketing. Like, I'm extremely skilled at organic marketing, which a lot of people know from watching me. There's a lot of people that just watch me just to see how I do things, which is smart. It's very smart of them. Like, they may never take a class from me, but that part is not smart, because I don't understand how you would, like, spend countless hours watching me to see how I do things and learn how I do things when I literally teach you a class that gives away so many of my secrets of how I do things. But so many people will never do the ritual. They'll never take the class. They might even, like, start the class but never actually utilize it. And same with the ritual. Like, so many people have bought the ritual but never actually utilized it. But it does something for you on an unconscious level because you've taken half a step towards it. So that's why I recommend that. Like, as long as you start, you always have access to it, even if it's too much for you to do. Because I understand, like, I don't think that anybody should pressure themselves to do this type of work. It's not easy, and it will change things. So, you know, some of y'all know my story because you watched me, but I literally, like, struggled with housing for years. I could not get a firm footing, and a lot of it was just because I was needing that to get stability within myself. It was reflective of my instability and my lack of safety and lack of security within myself and my own body. And your house is always a reflection of your body, so that's going to be really important. And what we're finding for a lot of people who have lived with roommates is that who really need their space and know they need their space, is that those roommates were indicative of entities living in your body. Yeah. They were fucking freeloaders, dog. And it's great that you cleared them out, or that you cleared yourself out, or whatever. And, like, some of y'all actually have symbiotic relationships with your living partners, the people that you live with. So I'm not talking about y'all. That's not for everybody. But for some of y'all, yeah. Some of us, we had some freeloaders in there. And this is where it's really, really important to clear those out. So with Cancer season, with dealing with our grief, and the past few seasons of the Zodiac Wheel, we've really cleared out a lot of things that don't serve us. And so with Leo season, it's not necessarily going to be fun and easy like how it is sometimes, but it's... Kitty? Okay, so Leo season, the thing about Leo is that Leo isn't afraid to be themselves, and they don't need a reason to have confidence. They don't need evidence of anything to have confidence. They just already do. They're already confident in themselves, no matter, like, how they actually are. Like, they will have confidence and be, like, the most ain't shit person around, and don't have nothing fucking going for themselves and no accomplishments, but you can't tell them that. they still think they're the shit. So be like Leo, because a lot of y'all deserve it way more. No offense, Leos, but shit, you should know yourself well enough to know that what I'm saying is facts. So there's some pain rising up in the collective right now because it's like exposing where you have not had stability. And that's basic root chakra healing, is like stability, like financial stability and safety, a home, these basic things, really, really basic things. Now, like, everybody don't need a home, and there may be pivotal parts of your journey that you spend traveling or going place to place. But for a lot of my collective, that journey is over. Like, that's not now. Your Jesus of Nazareth phase is over, honey. So grounding and rooting is actually challenging. It's extremely challenging to get out of fight or flight mode. It's a lot easier to stay in there and keep going. And that's why some people, they never stop. You know, they die early. Their relationships are shambles. They're never, like, I see it in my own family. They never healed. Like, it's like you're always on the run. Always in fight or flight, no matter what happens, no matter where you go. And so a lot of people wouldn't understand, like, the things that I've been doing with my life for the past few years, because while I was in a housing insecurity situation where I really couldn't get stable, I was moving fast, really fast, towards my ultimate stability and my ultimate happiness. And I feel like I've arrived right there. Like, I'm here. I'm in my ultimate stability and my ultimate happiness for this moment in my life. And I have the space, the time, and the room to look at any of my limiting beliefs that still tell me that I'm not worthy or that I don't deserve it. Because I already can see I've put in the work. Like, if it was hard work, if it was the fact that I needed to work hard because I have a value of hard work, I already did it. The work has been done. I already worked really hard. Okay, so that was hard. Now what? I don't want to work like that the rest of my life. I'm willing to give it my all, don't get me wrong, but there was things that were lacking. Support that I needed that I wasn't receiving. And as I open myself up more and more to receiving support, I'm starting to see what is the actual kind of support that I need. You have to practice these things, like, especially for a lot of my people, that you've never let people support you. You've always been in charge of everything. And there's, like, only certain situations that you feel comfortable in. So your energy has been conditioned to handling things for yourself, and it actually feels unsafe to let other people help. It feels like they'll fuck it up, then you'll get blamed. They'll not be able to do as good of a job as you. They don't know what you need. And they don't care. And then there's these other underlying beliefs, like, ultimately people only care about themselves. They don't really care about other people. So it's good to explore that, because that's what shadow work is. Come to my class if you want guidance with this and to go in depth with it. The way I do teaching in classes and the way I do shadow work is really next level. It will really get you there if you're able to be present for it, which, like, a lot of times it's hard to even be that present for these type of things because they're very activating. So that's why it's a great, like, you can get the class later. You can enjoy the replay later. You don't have to be there, you know? Sometimes what happens when people try to do stuff with me is that, like, some crazy shit will pop off right when they're trying to do the thing with me. And, you know, that's why I warn people and I give them the disclaimer, like, my work is triggering. My work works. It actually changes things. It's not just a little love and light potion to, like, pacify you through your reality. This isn't Zoloft. It's not Prozac. It's not that. Like, it will give you energy and make you feel good, but sometimes it'll make you feel like shit because you got some other shit in there that needs to clear out first. Okay? So it is what it is. That's a cliche that my grandpa used to always say. And, like, we're at a point where we can really look to our elders for their wisdom. even if we couldn't do that while they were here on Earth. Like, we're pulling these knives out of our cranium. All these 9 knives, like, we survived. It's like the image of, like, we survived the battle and it's still haunting us. It's inside of us now. And that's the truth. And we're doing all that we can do to not recreate it, while still learning, like, all the many ways that it's in us and it comes out and we don't even know it. And it comes out against ourselves and it comes out against other people. And we're interacting with the quantum fields, which is co-created. Like, so when we're interacting with another person, we're interacting with their reality. We're bringing our reality to their reality, and it's merging and meshing. And so a lot of times, like, as you're getting more and more psychic, you'll hear things. Like, you'll hear their thoughts about themselves, or their thoughts about you, or their thoughts about other things. And you might wonder, like, can they hear my thoughts? You know, some of us have to actually set boundaries around that. Like, if you know your thoughts are loud as fuck, you have to set boundaries around that to protect yourself and to protect others. And this is part of claiming and honoring your spiritual gifts, because they want us to just be freaking desperate and, like, delusional and lacking ownership over our gifts out here, so that we will be fucked up in the game and not know why. And it's a much, much different feeling from commanding respect and ownership over your gifts versus being a victim to them and not understanding how to use them. And you're the only one that can really understand that. You know, as much as a guide or a teacher is relevant and helpful at different parts of your journey, that's the thing that's great about my course, is that you download it for yourself and you keep it, you use it. You don't have to come to me or come through me, because that energy exchange can often be invasive, honestly. Like, to need to depend on a teacher too much is not recommended at this time. That's why I've taught my class the way I've taught it, and it's evolved over time from when I did teach it in person to small groups to now how I teach it now, where it's a download and anybody can study it at any time. And then you go further by working one-on-one with me. There's the only group aspect is the app. You can use it at your leisure, at your discretion. Everybody doesn't want a group component. For some people, that's draining and it's triggering. And for other people, they need that. So that's why we have other classes and we have support in the app. The truth is that I developed all these materials because I needed them. I needed the community that they brought. It was a vital part of me feeling safe on Earth. So anybody could do it, but everybody won't. We all have different energy signatures. So I shouldn't say that. That's not entirely true. I don't want to say, like, anybody could do what I do, blah, blah, blah. If you guys are into human design, I'm a manifestor under human design, which is like 10% of the population, and it's part of the population who gets energy from initiating things. So it helps, like, I initiate things. I get energized by doing that, but to sustain them, it's not really my thing. So I created Heaven on Earth, Hozar Healers community, and it's now being sustained by its members. That's what I like to do, and that's why I'm on to something new, which is Root Chakra Goddess. So I really appreciate everybody for sticking with me. And those new people, you can check out hozarhealers.com to learn more about what I'm talking about. RootChakraGoddess.love is my new website. The things I'm doing with this platform, I can't really describe them, like, clearly. It's more something I want you to feel. So just stay tuned. This is going to unfold. And for all of us, like, our self-actualization journey really has a lot of support with this Leo new moon. And it may seem like a lot of things have fallen apart or they're hard. But it's going to be a lot of shadow work. And it's going to be a lot of a need to dive deep and engage with those shadows and not hide any part of yourself from any other part of yourself. That's how you really get to fulfillment, and that's where pleasure is really possible. Because I see a lot of people talking about pleasure and focusing on pleasure, and I've just noticed that pleasure is not possible for everybody. Because, like, some of us have been and are still in fight or flight mode, And it's not actually a bad thing, because where we've been getting to through having to move like that is total freedom. So a lot of the people who are, yes, kitty, 1 second. So like I was saying, a lot of the people who haven't been in fight or flight, they may have sort of been stuck in a sense of complacency. It may have been like a survival mode type of thing in another way. So there's a lot sitting on a lot of people, regardless, whether you've been moving super fast or whether you've been pretty much sitting still. You might have a lot to digest at this time. If you have stomach issues, there's probably a lot to digest that you haven't been digesting. Migraines, there's a lot of information coming in that you're trying to ignore. And unfortunately, so we let our lives pass us by with thinking that these health problems are just coincidences, or like our body's just not working right. Your body is trying to tell you that something's not right. It's trying to tell you what's going on with you. You have to listen. That's what the body is for. And through processing that, you get to experience a deeper level of pleasure. Like, you have to sort of let a lot of that stuff go so you can feel deeper inside. And that's what Leo season is for, is really getting into our animalistic urges and not vilifying them. We'll have time later to sort out the details. Virgo season is right around the corner. So, right now is just pretty much about enjoying the moment and retreating to your domain, ganging up with your pack, and really enjoying that, letting that inform who you are, and letting who you are inform the group dynamics. For people who are really like shy, or don't show yourself, or people please, try to like make others comfortable a lot, you're gonna really want to use this time to impose who you are on groups, and to be who you are in groups, and to not go along or like assimilate. And you can draw that strength to do that from your inner core, your solar plexus. That's the sun inside your body. So I want to wish everyone a great season, and enjoy yourself. Love yourself. Don't judge yourself. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be seen. You don't have to hide yourself anymore. It's not necessarily flashy or anything like that. It's just you. You deserve to be seen. You are important. And you matter to a lot of people. A lot of people get happy just by seeing your face. If they just see you, they get so happy. So what does that mean? You're hurting them if you don't show yourself. You're hurting them if you don't show yourself. It's not about them at the end of the day, but you matter is the point. There's people that can't live without you, don't want to live without you. And regardless of the burden or responsibility that may be, it means something. It shows how important you are to all of humanity. And it is a reason to keep going even when it's hard. Just like generations have done. So many of our generations only survived because they loved other people, and they needed other people, and they took care of other people. And we're not no different. We just have a lot more skills and tools to be able to do it in a more healthy way. And we have the opportunity to self-actualize our own purpose more so than a lot of them did. So with these gifts, what the fuck we look like not using them and not really appreciating them? And you have to live your life to live it. You have to live your life to use your gifts. It's the perfect season to do that, and the details will work themselves out later. In the meantime, life is for living. All right? Peace, healers. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. say mashallah, tell a friend to tell a friend, and stay tuned.